There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy a favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
So in the world of sound control, Blackhole claims to have some of the most efficient sound dampening products. Well, we're going to find out today because we've got product expert Nick Wingate from Orca in the house with us today to tell us all about the great products that Blackhole has to offer. This is CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. Blackhole, and it starts now. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another CMA Connected presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and we are on the path into wiring and accessories, and in that is a subcategory that we call sound deadening, a very important category indeed that we covered very recently in our last CMA Live. Make sure you go to our CMAnetworks.com. If you missed that one, you can watch that one on demand. Today, we're talking about Blackhole, which is distributed in the US by Orca and in Canada through Trends Electronics. So on that note, I'd like to welcome our guest, our first guest today, which is the National Sales Manager for Trends, Mr. Grant McFadder.
Morning, sir. Thank you for my first episode with you guys.
Your very first show. We're going to, get you warmed up and eased into this, Grant. My name is Ben. Pleasure to meet you.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. We bounced around so many different categories, Grant, and it's kind of fun to see just a wide range of type of products that, distributors like Trends gets to supply our industry with. And in the sound deadening category, Blackhole is kind of special. It's got some special, unique product. It's distributed by your partners, Orca in the US. And, they take sound quite seriously, as you know. But with all the brands that you could have chosen, I'd like to hear from your perspective, why Blackhole?
Well, first and foremost, is because of our partnership with Orca. So that was, we're a big believer in supporting as many suppliers or our suppliers the best way we can. So if there's multiple products they have, we'll try and do whatever we can to support them. It's a two-way street. They do the same for us. So it's been a good partnership. Blackhole, when we looked at it, there was multiple layers of product they had, not just in their matte product, obviously, but there was different applications they had that really made a lot of sense. So for us, it was a no-brainer. It was they checked off a lot of boxes.
The first time I ever was trained, I guess, on Blackhole, we had their senior engineer from Orca, Mr. Alan Hosabus, and he really went into detail about the technology behind, each material and why the tile was set up a certain way and why the mat was set up a certain way. I'm interested to hear Nick's take on it, with his training background, but more importantly, his competitive background from using these products at that level and hearing, why he chooses which type of material / product for which application. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to most. What are you looking forward to uncovering today?
Same as that. I mean, you're talking about the man, the myth, the legend, and that guy's had more sound quality vehicles than all of us combined, probably. So, if that guy knows a thing about making your car dead or get rid of unwanted acoustics, he's the man. So, absolutely.
Very, very cool. Well, without further ado, why don't we bring on the man, the myth, the legend? He is the national trainer for Orca. And we would like to welcome him back, Mr. Nick Wingate, coming to us live from hot and muggy Texas, from what I understand, Nick.
You have no idea.
Are you directly under a vent right now with AC? Because I understand from what I've seen, it is nasty out there.
Yeah, I'm in my office, which is separate from my house, and the AC is going. It's what time is it here? 11, a little bit after 11 a.m. And it's, let me look, 101 right now.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit.
Well, you can keep
Those
that
of
weather.
you who are-
I'll take your steak and barbecue, but you can keep the weather. How's that?
You know, Ben, this has been a heck of a June. And we normally don't see this until late July and August. So I'm not looking forward to July and August at all. That's the reason I'm like, I'm staying home. I'm staying inside. I know I've got a show to go do in Austin in July. It's called Heat Wave. It's a huge car show.
I wonder why it's called Heat Wave.
And it's going to be one this year. We're quite certain it's going to be.
Yeah, I would be like sitting in a little baby pool the entire time. You know what I mean? Just spritzing the whole day.
Trust me, if I didn't have to go, I wouldn't go.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, this is interesting because today we're talking about black hole products, and you're living in a climate which is quite extreme, almost opposite from the climate I live in. And we know that this is a product that you use religiously in all your builds, and you recommend all the time. So I would imagine that if it's good enough to withstand the 100+ degree ridiculous weather in Texas, it'll pretty much withstand any type of weather. So, I mean,
absolutely.
Listen, there's a lot of sound deadening products out there, right? Let's just get to chase. There's a lot of different ones. Butyl is a main, ingredient in a lot of them. I'd like to hear your thoughts or your experience with the black hole products and why you feel it gave you an edge as a competitor.
Well, when Blackhole was first brought out, this is something that was done over 25 years ago. Kaman Bellis, who is the owner of Orca, he and Alan were trying desperately to come up with something that would help control the back waves of speakers in the home audio line, as well as control the resonances of an enclosure in home audio, because that was the primary back in the early days of Orca. And they created, the first one was actually Blackhole 5, which we're going to talk about today. And I first got a chance to wear Eric Grant showing it right there. That product has been around for a very, very long time. And there's no adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Guess what? There's a reason it hasn't changed much. It works. When I got my first sheets of this from Orca many a year ago, we were primarily using it in subwoofer enclosures. And, Kaman and Alan both told me that if you will line 5 sides of the box, not necessarily the baffle, but all other sides of the enclosure with it, 100%, you will find that the driver is going to play cleaner, it's going to play lower, and it's going to sound better. Okay, so sure, send me some. It was amazing. Not only does it allow the driver to play lower, but to me, it's cleaner. It sounds better, and that convinced me that these two gentlemen knew exactly what they were talking about, because the proof is in the pudding. So from that point forward, if they developed something and said, "Do this," I did it. And when I went to work for Orca.
So you tested stuff before you were even an employee of Orca.
Oh, I was not an employee. I was a competitor in Iasca and USAC back in the day, and wanting, and having Focal. Yeah, and it being the distributor of Focal in the United States, I'm using Focal product, and they have this and amazing. It still is to this day. It is amazing. I can tell you that there are several high-end home audio speaker manufacturers in the United States that we supply a ton of this product to today. Now, I have an NDA. I can't tell you who they are.
I was just going to say, okay.
I can tell you one of them sells speakers at $10,000 a pair to $300,000 a pair, and they use this product throughout their entire product line.
So I'm going to stop you right there. Nick. See, this is a very competitive advantage that I think dealers need to understand. Orca operates at such a high level when it comes to, high-end sound, right? Sound reproduction.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a material produced by Orca through Blackhole that is currently being used with high-end speaker cabinet makers that are being incorporated into their design. They're not making their own, they're buying yours, just to be clear.
No, they're buying ours.
Okay. So it makes it a very unique product, and then I guess in the marketplace.
Extremely.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
And home audio guys have got some advantages with, different shaped, cabinets and stuff. They can get rid of some of those resonances on the back wave. Car audio, we don't. We have a nice sheet of metal right.
We got a thin sheet of metal, like 4 inches away from the back of our magnet.
Yeah. So
right.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why this specifically, this product is amazing. And when we're talking about profitability, predictable results, this is it. And what a lot of people don't realize is when we're talking about your vehicle, we've got resonances, we've got things in the car that are plastic, we've got metal, you've got rubber. Let's face it. And we need to control as much of that as possible. And so I like to refer to Blackhole as a resonance control and sound enhancement product.
Sound enhancement, interesting.
Yeah, because what we're really trying to do is we're trying to enhance the enclosure to where it's like the door, for instance, to where it's going to mimic a high-end home audio enclosure.
Mm-hmm.
To where it's going to do the exact same thing that these speaker manufacturers want internally on their bass driver's plate cleaner and their subs plate cleaner.
Right. Okay. So from what I understand, there's a couple different products. So it's sometimes it's a combination of different products to bring together to make that happen. And I think that's all going to be covered in the presentation we're about to see.
All right. It tells me, there we go. I got you back. I had a streaming connection issue for me.
Oh, no worries.
Okay. We're back.
All right. So at this time, why don't we pull up the presentation? I'll let you and Grant and Nick kind of go through the product line. And when we come back, we can certainly discuss everything because I've got some pretty intense questions I have for you in specific, Nick, that I've been saving for this episode. So let's learn and then we'll discuss.
Woohoo! Well, you can see that these are the products that we are currently providing in the Blackhole line. There's the Blackhole 5, which is this is what we've been talking about. And basically, you line the walls of any vented or sealed enclosure, and it does a tremendous job. And then the tile is just to make sure that the back wave is controlled as much as possible. Just like we do the Blackhole 5 in a sub enclosure, the tile does the same thing inside car doors. And then the Blackhole mat is something that was developed specifically to try and damp the metal vibrations and plastic vibrations as much as we possibly could. And then, of course, the Blackhole tape, which we can go into when we get to it, because there's some really cool things in Blackhole tape that a lot of people don't realize what you can do with it and how you can use it, especially when it comes to controlling vibrations in cable, especially when it makes a lot of noise. So when we're talking about Blackhole 5, we've been talking about it, and you can use this product in any enclosure. Okay, if you've got room in any enclosure to put a piece of it, do so. If you're building custom A-pillars, and you see Grant showing you a picture of it right here. If you can get a small piece of this in a A-pillar enclosure, please do so. And people always tell me, well, how in the heck do I cut it? You cut it with a bandsaw. And that's how I've always used it. I've had access to a bandsaw, and I'll take it and cut it. And you can cut it to any shape you want to on a bandsaw. It works really, really well. Because I can tell you that a lot of my dealers that use this product in their A-pillars, if they have the room, it is amazing what it will do to the mid-range. Because what happens is, these two layers right here, there's a self-adhesive butyl piece right here, and then there's a piece of foam right here. And what that does is it literally controls the back way, it controls the resonances of whatever it's attached to, which is high frequency and low frequency. There's a lot of product out there that talks about how it controls low frequency resonances. Well, what about the high frequencies? We're talking about metal. Metal is a high frequency and it emits a high frequency resonance. So why would we want to control that as well? Well, you do. So whatever you attach this to, it's going to help control that. Then there's a barrier here that actually says that. Can we go to the next slide? I think we can get a little bit. Thank you. Okay. So the next one is a 6mm acoustic foam. This right here is pretty doggone amazing how it works. This 25mm right here, this literally absorbs about 80% of the energy that hits it, whatever it is. Now you stop and think about the amount of energy that a subwoofer produces. Okay, we know that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction when it comes to piston speakers. And the amount of energy that's being pushed into a car by a sub or a mid-bass driver is equally being produced in the enclosure of the door. So if we don't do something that's going to keep that energy from being basically bouncing around in the enclosure or the door, you're going to have a serious problem in your hands, because what happens is energy that's created bounces around, it hits the back of the speaker cone and causes what is known as Doppler distortion, which we can hear. Now that's going to prevent the driver from producing, and exacting the information that we're wanting it to do. For instance, let's just say that we're using it in a door, and we're going to use the Blackhole tiles, which we'll get to in just a few minutes. Okay. And we put a number of tiles in the door. All of a sudden, what happens is the mid-bass driver plays lower, it plays cleaner, and it plays louder. Now, what a novel concept. Wouldn't that be great? That's what this product does.
For car
and
audio,
there's nothing. Do what, Grant?
All that stuff we don't need. All that cool stuff we don't need for car audio. No one wants it louder. No one wants it cleaner.
No. Why would we want that? No, we want it to go bong. No, that's the last thing we want it to happen is it goes bong. No, we're not trying to do it SPO. And that's what this material does. And I can tell you that it does it extremely well. Like I said, I've used this product for 25 years. Every time that we have new dealers come on board and they buy some of this and they use it, I get a phone call. And they're like, this is absolutely amazing. They're like, I had no idea that the sub was not playing as low as it possibly could, or the mid bass was not producing as much punch and drive as we thought it was doing. And they're like, it's amazing. And I cannot tell you how much I recommend this product to every single solitary person out there who has a shop. If you are a dealer, if you do business with Trent, please, please, please buy some of this and try it. You're going to be extremely happy.
You brought up a great point last week when we were talking about this was, take a lot of guys have got prefab boxes or even if it's your own custom enclosures you're making, do one without this and then do one with it and listen for yourself. And 95 people out of 100 are going to take the one with the Blackhole 5 in it, because it does do exactly what we're talking about. It plays lower. All that stuff don't let your if you don't do it, it's hard to demonstrate it. So if you do it even on a prefab box, like just take a 10-inch sealed enclosure or a 10-inch vented enclosure, And the nice thing with this, with vented enclosures, you don't have the polyfill floating out the port.
No,
right? There's nothing for this to float outside the port when the bass gets going.
Exactly. And I know a lot of people ask me, does it take up airspace? And the answer to that is no, it does not. So you don't have to worry about that. If you're in a 1 cubic foot enclosure, apply the product. Put as much of it in as you can, and you're going to be amazed. It really is just an incredible product that we've had for many years, and it performs extremely well. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. Now you can see. I mean, Grant, if you'll hold that piece up for me, you can see this is the size it comes in, and there's 10 pieces per box. Okay. And if you think you're not going to use this much of it, I will tell you, yes, you will. You're going to want a box of it, especially if you do a lot of prefab boxes and you want to make them sound way better and make way more money. This is it. If you build custom enclosures, obviously you're going to want to use this in every respect. But I can tell you that I can give examples of how much of this is being used by dealers around the country. I can tell you that. I'll give you a personal story. Chris Pate has used this product now for going on, I think, about 10 years. And the first time that Chris used this product, he was actually building bass guitar cabinets for several major rock bands that he was friends with. And he literally built these bass guitar cabinets with 2 amplifiers on it and lined one thing in the other one. And of course, Chris, was playing in a band then. And his bass guitars came in and they did an A/B comparison, and it was not even, he was like, oh my God, listen to this. And ever since then, this is something that Chris, if somebody is serious about their music and they want their subs to be absolutely play as low as they possibly can, Chris has this product in stock at MTI, and he never runs out. I mean, if we're out, sometimes Chris has some, and we got to get it from him. That's how much of this Chris keeps in stock. And he's not the only one. Profitability is high on this. You charge what you want to. I don't think Grant's going to care. I don't care. There's a set cost on this, and whatever you feel like you can get for it, have at it. You think you can get $350 for the enclosure, extra for the enclosure? Have at it. I don't care. Trust me, it will be worth it.
I think one of the cool things as well, there's not a piece of electronics for $300 that can make your subwoofer sound that good. You're not adding a DSP for $300
No.
to do the job for you, right? This will do the job for you without anything else you have to put in there. No wiring, no nothing. Peel and stick, push it down.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm glad you brought that point up, Grant. The adhesive on the back of these products is pressure sensitive. So when you cut this product, and including the Blackhole top, when you peel the back of it off, you want to make sure that whatever you're going to attach this to is clean. That's number one. Number two, when you peel that off, okay, whatever you stick it to, you make sure that you take your fist and push down on it as hard as you possibly can, because it's pressure sensitive. And when it sees a certain amount of pressure, the adhesive gets activated. And I will tell you that if you do that, it will not come off once it cures. It takes about 24 hours for it to cure 100%. But if you do that, it won't come off. And you want to make sure that 100% of the surface area is contacted by this product. Because if it doesn't, we might get a resonance here or there. And it's rare, but it does happen. Prime example is my personal truck sitting right outside. I have a 2020 Dodge Ram, and it's got 24 of these tiles in each door. And, if you do not press down on them 100%, you occasionally get a little bit of a rattle. And it's because the tile or the 5 is loose. So make sure you do that. Okay. Well, if you do that, it's amazing what it can do. Okay. So Ben, you got any questions you need to ask us about Blackhole 5 before we go any further?
No, I'm going to save my questions for the end of the presentation, if that's okay, Nick.
Fine, be that way.
All right. I will be that way.
All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is called Blackhole tile. And basically, this is Blackhole 5 that we have treated to make it as water resistant as we can. Now, this is the exact same thing, but you can see how it's cut. And it's cut in small squares, which also allows us to get as many tiles in a door as you possibly can. So, and if you want to use just a few of them, you can. It's not going to be as good as getting as many of them in the door as you possibly can. But what you want to do is you want to take these tiles and you want to place it directly behind, as the case of the door, a mid-bass driver or a mid-range that's in the door to control what is known as the back wave echo. Again, the driver will produce a certain amount of energy that's going to go into the door. It's also going into the car and vice versa. So we want to make sure that we can dissipate and diffract and absorb as much of that energy as we possibly can. So, and that's the primary function of what this tile does in the door. The other thing it does is it adds a lot of mass to the door, which greatly reduces your road noise, and it controls the high frequency resonances of the metal. Because if you're traveling down the highway and you don't have anything indoor and you listen to a car, it's a tin box, unless you happen to be in a Rolls Royce or a Bentley or something like this. And if you want to get the most from your music and have your system perform at its absolute best, this is an invaluable product to be able to sell your customer. If your customer, and I don't care if you're selling an entry-level product all the way up to, you're selling berylliums from Focal. I don't care. One of the things you need to do is you need to sell this product. You need to put it up on the counter and just tell the customer, you have to have this. You need this. Because if you want your system to perform at its absolute best, you need this. Yes, there's other product out there that will do a decent job. Will it control it? The back wave? Not really. Will it damp the door? Kinda. Because most of that product damps low frequency. I'm sorry, the doors are made of metal, unless it's a Corvette. So why are we not controlling the high frequencies? This product does. So this is the reason why you want to get as many of the tiles in the door as you possibly can. Like I said, I've got 24 of these in each one of the doors of my Ram. And it does an absolutely phenomenal job in getting your mid-bass drivers, or your mid-ranges for that matter of fact, to sound absolutely phenomenal. You hear things in the mid-range or even in the mid-bass that you never heard before, not in a car. In a home audio situation, sure, because let's face it, it's a cabinet. Cabinet's designed really well. You're in a home. It's a quiet environment. Car's not a quiet environment. We got to make it that way. If you're going to get the most out of your system, you got to get the car to be as quiet as possible. So this product does both. It controls the back wave energy, which means the driver's going to play lower, play cleaner, play louder. And it's also going to reduce the tremendous amount of road noise when you use as many of them as possible. I know Grant's done
Even
this.
from an
He can
installer,
take-
even from an installer standpoint, it's a lot easier to install these into those really friendly openings in a door we have to deal with, rather than trying to put a whole sheet in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, you've got some uneven surfaces, anything like that. This is a lot easier to install. And then we have them in the master cases of 72, which you can do, if you're doing Nick Wingate's car, you can do one box for his car. Or there's the 18 pack. So we call it the starter kit. So that basically gives you a good way to, if you haven't tried it before, there's 18 tiles there that'll get you, 2 doors to start off with. And then once you say, yeah, this really does work, these guys aren't full of, they're not blowing smoke, then you can order the 72 box. So we have the starters and the 72 packs in stock all the time.
I can tell you that if you've never used this product, and again, like Blackhole 5, I encourage you to please get some. Order a starter pack, bring it in, put it in your demo car. Okay. If you're using some type of, let's say, butyl asphalt based compound on your door, okay, and you don't have a foam material attached to it, you can put this directly on top of it. It's not going to hurt, but you're going to hear the difference.
There may be a sponsor at the end of this that they usually talk about, is our friend Jody at 5-Axis Displays. If you guys are doing sound deadening displays in your stores, that's the best way to demo it. It's a no-brainer. So I'm sure he'll have, you can put this on those displays from him or anyone else you have, those acoustic displays. It's a no-brainer. Put it on there and let the customer decide. Do you want to sound like a tin can, or you want to sound like a pair of bookshelf monitors?
Oh, absolutely. If you want to make your soundboard sound better, by all means, add the Blackhole 5 to your enclosures. You're going to be amazed at how much better this sounds. So, next step is Blackhole Matte. Now, this looks like everybody else's product out there. And I can tell you it looks like it, but it is not like it in a lot of respects. And the main thing that I like to talk about with this is when you take a look at this material right here, this rubber compound, it does not have any asphalt in it. There's a lot of cheap stuff out there that you can get off of Amazon. You can get it off of eBay, yada, yada, yada. They have got asphalt mixed into their basically their butyl product, where the adhesive is. If they have that in there, I can tell you when it starts to get hot, like it is in Texas today, that stuff is going to melt. It's going to run. It won't adhere. It's a mess waiting to happen. And if it doesn't stick, and if it melts, and if it runs down the door, what we're trying to accomplish is negated. Yes, sir.
I can tell you we had a product a few years ago that we had a lot of problems with melting. And we had a guy with a 77 Chevelle custom build. They did the roof liner in it. They did the doors. They did the floor. And it was around this time when it got hot. And let's just say it cost a lot more to clean the mess up than it ever did for the material and to install it. So I love this stuff. I don't hear anybody calling me about, hey, this is melting. It's running. I put it on my license plate and now I've got a sticky bumper. No, this stuff is awesome. It does not melt. So from personal experience, we've had some very costly checks we've had to write or reimbursements to do because of inferior products. So
yeah,
everything is not created equally. I'll just say that.
No, it most certainly isn't. And, I can tell you that, Alan and Kimon worked on this for quite some time. This was not something that was just thrown together just to get something out. That did not happen. There was a number of different types of materials that we looked at. There were different mixtures. And it was something that we took a long time to actually produce. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure that it would be able to do is that it would be able to wrap around something, because it's real easy to cut it. Scissors, knife, you can die cut it if you want to. But the thing of it is, it's real easy to put on a door, inner door skin, outer door skin, whatever you want to do. Plastic, it works extremely well. But one of the things that I like to do with it
Mold it around
is,
your fist.
I'm sorry, sir?
I said mold it around your fist, that it shows that it wraps around just about everything.
Yeah, just around everything. And what Grant is doing, I do at a lot of shows. Is, and again, it is a pressure sensitive adhesive, folks. So make sure you want to do that. One of the things that, like in my truck, for instance, there's a rod internally in the door that connects the handle to the mechanism that opens the door. And I've got I have a Gladen 6.5-inch mid-bass driver. Yes, this is blatant advertisement for Gladen. You're welcome. And it moves a ton of information. It's a lot of energy in that mid-bass driver. And I neglected, like an idiot, to do anything about the metal rod. And that thing would rattle. And the first time that I heard it, I knew what it was. And I went, yep, I know what I have to do. So I took some Blackhole mat and I cut a strip about half an inch wide, about 30 inches long, pulled the door panel off, and I literally wrapped the metal rod with that Blackhole mat. And it's still there. And that was 2 years ago. It's still there to this day. And I do not have a problem with it in any way, shape, or form. It's real easy to use. You can drape it. It's got really good stretch. It conforms to any irregular surface. You don't have to heat it. You don't have to go get some tool and you have to roll it and do this. You don't have to do any of that. And if for some reason you don't want to try the Blackhole tile and you just want to use this because of budget constraints, please use this on the outer door skin, because it does have a little bit of foam on it and it will help break up some of the back wave. It will not do the job that Blackhole tile does, obviously, but it does a decent job. Like I said, I've been using it for years. It works great. Sounds fantastic. And I said, it comes in a pretty big sheet. I mean, Grant's showing you. It comes in a box, and you literally can take a pair of scissors and cut it to any shape you need, which I really like. That's the box.
It comes flat packed as well, which is nice for stores. It doesn't take up a lot of space. I mean, that's probably about an inch thick, that box, and that does 11 square feet in each one of these.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take up a lot of shelf space. They have master packs of 4, which, 44 square feet, that pretty much does your whole car. Unless you're doing the floor, then you probably need 2 boxes.
Yeah. I have 2 boxes in my truck. I did the floor, I did the back wall, I did part of the firewall, and then the inner door skin. I did the plastic door panels. I used it, and we have a saying at Orca that when you use Blackhole mat, you do what you need to do. You do your homework. You cover as much surface area as you possibly can for something that might resonate. And you add as many tiles into the door as you possibly can, and you made the car door drive-by proof. And everybody's like, what? It's like, yeah, because it's extremely heavy. It adds a lot of mass to the door, but it does a fantastic job in every respect. So I think we've covered just about all that. The one thing that I do want to talk about.
Yeah, the one comment there before was the odor part of it. Because there's no asphalt in there, it doesn't smell like tar. You've smelled tar in the summer when someone's paving a road. When you're in Texas or Arizona or Florida or Ontario, whatever, when it's 115 degrees outside, your car is not going to smell like someone's tarring you at the road. So I've heard that before. I've experienced it firsthand. anything kind of asphalt based. It's got that nasty smell in the summer.
Absolutely. One of the things that I do want to point out real quick is the heat rating on these things. They don't burn. They don't catch on fire. We made sure of it because, occasionally there's a wreck. And we all know that people worry about stuff catching on fire. It won't catch on fire. Okay. Blackhole tape. This is a product that we recently introduced about a little over a year and a half ago. And it's been very well received. And it's just, it's a product that, again, we didn't just go out and find something and say, oh, we have it too. No, this was a little bit different because we realized that, we're about quality. We're about having something that's going to work. It's going to be there. It's reliable and it's not going to fail. And so this tape doesn't do that. None of it, whether it's, the tapes that you use for like on the interior harnesses, for instance. One of the things that I really like to talk about with the interior tape is how it actually can cut down resonance. Like for instance, in several of our competition vehicles, my guys were running, some fairly expensive speaker cable from a high-end home manufacturer, and they would rattle. You could literally drive down the highway and they would vibrate because they're touching the metal. So what we did is we took the test, this tape, and we just wrapped it around the cable, and it literally killed all the resonance. It was gone. And it works extremely well. Power cable, just wrap it. It does a great job. If you need to bundle the things together, power ground turn on, do that because this stuff is extremely pliable. It's very easy to use. And the strength of it is tremendous. I mean, if you ever try and tear this stuff, you're going to know. It takes a little bit of effort to tear it. I normally keep a pair of scissors with me. Grant just showed you.
This stuff's not bad.
Easy.
The interior tape's pretty easy. The exterior, ain't going to happen. You're going to use a knife on this. You're not using it. You're not going to, well, maybe some big strong guys will, but Grant McFadder's not ripping this with his hands. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The interior tape is stronger. I think you'll find that it's really, I really like the adhesive. It's really good. It sticks to whatever you put it to. I don't care what it is, especially underneath the hood. If you're routing wire, certain areas you're getting their high heat content, hey, just use a bunch of this. As you can see, it's resistant to over 300 degrees Fahrenheit. For me, that's peace of mind. You use it, it looks like factory. You're going to make sure that it doesn't, melt, because we all know that there's some PVC out there, jackets that will melt. You add this to it, you put this there, it keeps that from happening. I think Grant's got one right there showing you.
So we do. They do it in two different sizes. There's a 3/8, and then there's a 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
So if you're doing big looms, the guys will use a lot of 3/4 inch. If you guys are just using maybe some speaker wire or stuff like that, that's not a lot. They'll use the 3/8. So the interior 3/8 and 3/4, and same with the exterior tape. The exterior tape, like I said, you're not ripping that with your hand. That's using an X-Acto knife or a pair of scissors or something. Guys will use this if you're doing radar detector installs, or any if you're running video cables from the front to the back of a car for backup camera. Use the exterior stuff. It's not, if he's getting hit by rocks or anything like that, it's not going to rip the tape. So just like it says, exterior wrap, all exterior areas. Absolutely.
Speaking of radar detectors, this is something that a lot of our dealers use. This acrylic adhesive. If you've got a high stress area, high temperatures, and you need to mount something like, for instance, radar jammers, you need to mount something externally on the car, this works extremely well. It's a double-sided tape. Cut it, peel it, mount it, stick it. Again, it's a pressure sensitive adhesive. Whatever you stick this to, 24 hours later, it is not coming off.
Yeah, don't put two of these together without the little paper in between, because
No.
like 24 hours. This is like glue. Same with the next product after this, but guys will use this for dash cameras. If you're putting new rear view mirrors on, laser defense systems, you're putting that on for the acrylic lenses, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, once it's on, it's on. It ain't coming off. 24 hours, this thing bonds like glue, like super glue.
Yeah. Same thing for the next one. I think we're going to talk about, if I could do the next slide, please, sir.
Yeah, so this is the one that's up there is the high bond double-sided foam tape.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same thing, but different application. So you want a little bit more of a gasketing application to it rather than just a clear adhesive. I know you I know you use this for certain applications for speaker wire.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll take this, I'll run strips of it in the truck or the car. I will lay the speaker wire down on top of it. It's a double stick tape. It's a foam. It keeps anything from resonating, rattling in the car. If you don't want to use a tester tape, use this. This works extremely well.
And this stuff too, 24 hours after you take that PVC protection film on it, it's like glue. We've got a few of these we had in the warehouse that someone removed the paper, and those two rolls are now useless. So they're stuck together.
Really.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, guys. Like this new tape edition, I think is super cool to the offering, because if you're going to come in with a unique product such as the Mat and the Tile and the 5, I mean, these are very unique products that really, like it or not, every shop should have in inventory at all times, because that's the world we live in. Here's my statement before I get into questions. You know what I came to realize hearing you, Nick, and Grant talking about this? Car audio has evolved so much. We started with a problem, and that was how to get better sound in cars. They innovated the speakers. They innovated the amplifiers. And then we came to the physical environment and how do you control that, right? Then you had better wires. And then you had sound deadening. Now, I mean, Blackhole just takes it to another level. Like now you're just like fine tuning that environment to optimize it so that your system sounds as best as it possibly can, given the situation, right? The key takeaway for me, and I've sit through a lot of these guys, as you know, where I feel Blackhole really shines here is the engineering from the I don't want to say the wrong one, the 5 material. That for me is a total game changer. I've actually spoken with dealers who do, like you said, Grant, because I was going to mention you took my fire there, but like there's guys that build their own enclosures and they offer it as a regular or a premium, and the premium is lined, as you said, Nick, 5-sided inside with the 5 material. It's day and night. People think they changed the driver on it. It's the same damn driver. The only difference between the two was this material that was added on. So to your point, absolutely makes a huge difference. And if I may add, I know you're not going to tell us which brands use this stuff, but I've cracked open a couple, bookshelves myself in the day. And yeah, I can say that there's some high-end stuff out there that's actually using this exact same product and continues to do so to this day in 2022. So know that, this isn't a material that was just for marketing. This is a material that is completely acoustically effective, even if it's under the veil that maybe these manufacturers don't advertise, but it's sometimes a secret to their sauce. Is that fair to say, Nick?
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Nick, you talked about the purity of the product. Let's go back to the Mat product, right? A lot of butyl rubber materials out there, with aluminum and so on and so forth. But so important to understand that product that you see that's cheapy, on the low price, whether through some of these online places, that when a customer I think dealers understand the difference. What I don't feel is communicated or maybe they're not educated on, and maybe it's the dealer's job to educate consumers, is when the consumer comes in and says, I got this on wherever online.
I got it at Home Depot. I got it from the roofing section.
I wish had a demo to show what kind of disaster, like what you were talking about, Grant, of what a cheap non-pure, loaded with asphalt material, what that could mean. Yeah, it looks cheap up front, but like, this is what could happen. Is this what you want? And show that difference, because I get the feeling, and I'm going to let you guys chime in on this. You're a car stereo shop. You're their expert. Yeah, sometimes you get the customer that always sounds like they know a bit more than you. We all know what we're talking about. But if you have an actual demo showing A, what you said, Grant, the difference with or without the material, and B, this is what happens if you buy the cheap material, I think that would make a difference. Grant, I'd like to hear your opinion.
I might have some photographs that I can send you if you would like some, Mr. Dealer. If you would like to show what a asphalt-based product does, I have some photographs I'm sure I can send you that Mr. Customer will not be would easily be dissuaded from going to Home Depot or Rona or Lowe's or wherever you want to buy that stuff at half the price. That's meant for a roof, not your car door.
And true, as a dealer, they shouldn't even accept that job to install. Nick, I don't know how you feel about that, but I wouldn't.
No,
I don't think our guys are going to accept that to install it. They're just. It's when the guy's coming into your store and saying, "Well, I can buy this cheaper." You're armed with ammunition. Like, yeah, you can go buy it. Don't bring it here for the install. And 6 months after you do it yourself, Mr. Customer, you might be coming back looking for better product.
Well, this is what I don't understand, because if that same customer is spending the big money on a Moscone amp and some Illusion speakers, this is part of the deal. Like, you want our speakers are great, but you know what really makes them sound great is if you make sure the environment that they're in is optimized, right? That's, I think, the whole selling point. Nick,
that's it in a nutshell. It's like I said, I don't care what speakers you're selling. You sell this product. I don't care if it's entry level. I don't care. Sell this product.
So this is the question I've been meaning to ask Mr. Wingate, now that I have him to myself here.
Oh, God.
So here you go. You're on the sales floor. I'm the customer. So, Nick, you're selling me, let's call it these Illusion carbons, right? Great.
Okay. All right.
Now you're trying to sell me also to put this Blackhole product behind it and, all this extra stuff that's going to cost me X amount of dollars more. Am I better to downgrade to a lower level speaker and make sure that the environment that it's going in is properly set up with said Blackhole products? Or am I better to spend a bit higher money on the higher end speaker and forego the Blackhole? How do you get around this?
Well, you've heard demo the Carbon 6s. Let's say it's a pair of C6s, okay? You listen to the Carbon 6s, you listen to Lucent 6s, and you're happy with Carbon 6s and you want that kind of sound. Okay. Now, if your salesperson and your staff knows what they're doing, they will tell them, we have these in an enclosure that has this material in it. You heard this package. Now, if you don't want this package, you want this kind of sound, we don't have to put this in there, but you're not going to get everything you just heard out of the speaker in your car door. So which would you prefer for me to sell you? You want me to sell you a lesser product that will get you 75% of what you just heard? Or do you want 100% of what you just heard?
I see the strategy. Okay.
That's easy.
Grant, yep. Grant, I want to hear your take on that same situation. How would you deal with it?
He nailed it, man. Like, as long as you guys at the store are talking the talk and walking the walk, and doing that treatment in your own enclosures too, because it is going to give the customer the best possible demo, period, is if you're doing it in the enclosures as well. Then, someone calls you out on it, you can pull that panel off and show them, hey, we've got 5 in here and we've got the tiles in here as well. We're talking the talk and walking the walk. It's not just, we don't have a big empty MDF enclosure in behind here. So that's my recommendation. Is if you're going to talk it up the same way as you're talking to your customer, then do it yourself as well on your displays, because it is going to make them sound better. Absolutely.
Okay. My other question to you is regarding the tile. I'll go to Nick for this one. So you're saying that the ideal situation, if let's say we're talking about a door panel, you would take the mat and cover both the outer and the inner with mat, and then on top of that put tile?
No.
You
do the inner door skin with the mat.
Inner door skin with the mat.
You do your door panel with mat.
Right.
You do the outer door skin with tile.
Ah, gotcha. As much as you can stuff in there.
As much as you can get in there.
And tile is chemically and composition-wise the same material as
Blackhole 5.
As 5. It's just cut up
Yes.
into small pieces.
It's cut up into small pieces, and then we have a material that's coated it's basically make it water resistant. It's not waterproof, but it's extremely water resistant. And Grant, if you'll turn that to where it's up, let's take a look. What you want to do is you don't want the flat edge of it up on the door. Okay, so if you install this, you want this in a diamond pattern in the door. Okay, because you want the water to roll off of it if it seeps into the door. Just like that.
Install it like this.
Exactly. And you want to get as many of them in the door as you possibly can. Put like a 1/2 inch space between each one, and you're going to be in great shape.
You know what I would do? I would take one of those and put them in every single one of my mini cabinets on my soundboard behind the speaker.
This is where Blackhole 5 comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you can cut it to any shape you need, any size you need, and it fits perfectly. And I will tell you, every one of our dealers here in the United States that has built their cabinets, or they have one of our display cabinets, if they have Blackhole 5 in those cabinets, what we have discovered, normally when you have a demo board from Orca, we normally see sales about $399 a pair to $499 a pair. That's the predominant sales point. When you put Blackhole 5 in it, it jumps up to almost $800 a pair. That's the average sales price.
That's good for the dealer.
That's how big a difference it makes.
Okay. I don't have much more. I mean, you kind of covered the gambit of things. I understand the breakdown of the products. We totally understand the application of things and what makes it unique. I love the fact that Orca is involved in that higher end home audio stuff. Supplying that kind of material means good enough for some of these and good enough for your car, dude. That's all I have to say about that. And last but not least, I think the tape is also a really interesting resource, often overlooked. And there's nothing worse than using cheap tape, because that's a lot of cheap tape to undo once you do a job. I think we all know what that means.
The electrical tape is a little bit nasty when you peel it off.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that, right?
No.
Everybody wants that factory look, right? That, with the material tape and so on and so forth. On that note, I'm going to let you enjoy your AC, Nick. Thanks so much for coming in and talking to us about Blackhole products today, sharing with us a little bit of your experience with the product as well.
Absolutely, Ben. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me anytime.
We'll see you on the next
episode.
My best regards to Alan. Hope he's feeling better.
Yeah, and I know Alan's watching, and I hope Alan is feeling way better. I got to call him here in just a minute, and I'll convey your messages to him.
Thank you, sir. You take care.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
So, question for you, Grant. Now that we kind of went through the entire catalog of the Blackhole products, if you were to recommend one product for them to try, what would that be and why?
Probably the tile, because it's very unique, different than what everyone else is offering out there. I mean, some guys will just use they have backwave solutions, we'll call it.
Can I comment on that real quick? I'm going to comment on that. So I've seen a couple things out there for backwave solutions. I can't say right now I've seen anything more than just what looks like a closed cell foam type of material, right? What I see here is it seems like it's a step above that, with a little bit more different composition layers, so on and so forth. That's kind of what I've observed.
They have one layer, we have 5. Is that enough to say?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was getting at. That
would be the first one I would try, because it's easy to do. And like I said, we have the starter packs. If you want to try it out, do your first car, let us know the results. And there's not many guys that order 18 tiles afterwards. They just do the 72 box. So good product to have in stock.
I'd probably say the same based on the presentation today. I'm curious myself to see what kind of difference that would make. I'd even take that, put it in my home bookshelves and see what kind of difference that would make as well. Final message to dealers tuning in. If they came this far, that means they're interested. What do you have to say to them?
Just give us a call. If you guys want a sample of stuff, if you just want to have one tile or you want to have some for your showroom floor, we'll break up a kit and send it out to you. But, like I said, my advice is, whether it's the mat, the 5, or the tile, or even the wraps and tapes, just grab a hold of one of our guys. We're happy to help you.
Well, if you want more information on Blackhole products, blackhole-america.com. If you're in the U.S., make sure you get a hold of the team over at Orca. If you're a Canadian dealer tuning in, make sure you get a hold of Grant and his team at trendsinc.com. They've got all products from Blackhole ready to go and get you well equipped and on your way. Thanks a lot for this one, Grant.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
That was Blackhole. Shout out to Nick Wingate for coming on for this one. And our best wishes go to Alan Hosabus, who's hopefully getting well at home. We want to remind you to continue tuning into CMA Networks until Wednesday, June 29th, as we continue diving in the journey that is mobile audio accessories and video. We've got all different brands that we're going one-on-one with every single day. And that goes right on till June 29th. Of course, make sure you visit our website, cmanetworks.com. If you like this video, we've got literally hundreds more where that came from. You could search for them by brand, by category, or even by your favorite trainer. Check out Nick Wingate's profile on our network. He's got a whole bunch of videos that we've done. It's a great catalog that you can look into. That's it. Thanks for tuning into the CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
Let's talk about stop it. Today I'm gonna go topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on SiriusXM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?